We often hear about the amazing success stories, the people who made millions, the companies that soared to the top, the athletes who won championships. It's inspiring, right? But there's a hidden problem with focusing only on these triumphs: survivorship bias. It's a sneaky way our brains can trick us into thinking something is easier or more likely to succeed than it really is. Think about it. You mostly see the winners. You see the successful business owners with their fancy cars and big houses. You see the famous musicians selling out stadiums. You rarely hear about all the people who tried and failed, the countless businesses that went bankrupt, the musicians who never got a record deal, the athletes who never made it to the pros. They're the silent majority, the unseen failures. That's survivorship bias in action. Imagine a group of 100 startups. Maybe only 10 make it big. The others fail. If you only look at the successful 10, you might think that starting a business is easy. You'll focus on their brilliant ideas and hard work, and miss the fact that 90 others tried and failed, maybe for reasons completely outside their control. This bias affects all kinds of areas. In the world of investing, for example, we often hear about incredibly successful investments, the stocks that skyrocketed. But what about the many investments that lost money? We don't usually hear those stories. We forget about the investors who lost their shirts. We focus on the successes, creating a false sense of how easy investing can be. The same thing happens with self-help books. We see the authors who became millionaires from their advice, but we don't see all the authors who wrote similar books and failed to gain any traction. That's survivorship bias again, making success look easier than it truly is. It's not just about money either. Think about famous artists. We see the masterpieces hanging in museums and galleries. We admire the skill and creativity. But for every famous artist, thousands of others toiled away, creating art that never saw the light of day. They struggled, and they didn't achieve the recognition or success they hoped for. Survivorship bias can lead to unrealistic expectations and poor decision-making. If you only focus on the winners, you might underestimate the risks involved in pursuing a similar path. You might think your chances of success are much higher than they really are, leading to disappointment or even financial ruin. To avoid falling prey to this bias, we need to actively seek out the stories of those who failed. We need to be aware that the successes we see are often the tip of a very large iceberg of failures. We need to understand the context of those successes. What specific circumstances contributed to their achievements? Were there unique advantages or lucky breaks that aren't typical? For example, you might be inspired by a successful entrepreneur who launched a tech company from their garage. But that garage likely represents years of hard work, a supportive network, and perhaps some lucky timing in the market. The story only highlights one path, neglecting the many others that didn't lead to success. By understanding survivorship bias, we can make more informed decisions, manage our expectations more realistically, and appreciate the immense effort and often unseen struggles that lie behind any success story. Remember those unseen failures. They're just as important as the victories we celebrate. Remember that success is often a combination of skill, hard work, and a bit of luck. Don't let the highlighted success stories obscure the realities of the journey. It's important to remember that while success is inspiring, it's often not a straight path. There are setbacks, failures, and unexpected turns. Acknowledging the failures helps us learn from mistakes, adapt, and approach challenges with a more realistic perspective. It allows us to be more resilient and to approach our own goals with greater awareness of the potential hurdles we might encounter. So next time you hear a success story, take a moment to consider the many untold stories of those who didn't make it. Understanding survivorship bias helps us see the whole picture, not just the glamorous highlights. It allows for a more balanced and informed perspective on what it truly takes to achieve success in any field. It's crucial to remember that success isn't solely determined by individual effort. Many external factors, market conditions, timing, and even pure chance play a significant role. Therefore, focusing only on success stories can be misleading, creating a distorted view of reality. A healthy dose of skepticism and a search for counter-narratives will help us stay grounded and make more realistic assessments of our own potential for success. Don't fall for the illusion that success is easily achievable. It requires dedication, adaptability, and a clear-eyed understanding of the challenges involved. Ultimately, Recognizing survivorship bias isn't about diminishing the achievements of those who succeed. It's about gaining a more complete understanding of the journey, appreciating both the triumphs and the setbacks, and navigating our own paths with greater awareness and realism. Let's not forget the silent majority. Those whose stories, while often untold, contribute just as much to the overall picture of success and failure.